So it's important though to recognize that the emotions are going to be the first thing that flare up
Yeah.
when a divorce occurs. And so those emotions can be the driving force for how it goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
They most of the time are.
They are, totally.
Right? So you can either go this way or you can go that way. So if you take care of your emotions first, and by taking care of your emotions, I'm talking about to get yourself some support.
Mm-hmm.
A counselor, a coach, somebody who can help you to divide things up in your mind.
So question for you on the getting help. Now, if you knew you're going to get divorced, and as I've read statistics, most people know between 3 to 5 years that they want to get a divorce before they actually act on it. Would you suggest to someone to get therapy and to kind of get themselves a little bit clear in the head before they actually file? Or how do you suggest handling that? Because I know for me, I knew a few years ahead, and I did go for therapy for about 6 to 8 months before I actually filed for divorce, and that helped a bit.
Yes.
So
yes, I think that as soon as you know that the thought might enter into your mind that you really are thinking divorce, you're not seeing how your marriage can be kept,
Mm-hmm.
or how you can remain in this marriage, it's important that you go and get support. And I'm not talking about exactly couple support either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about support for yourself, because you
Right.
need to be able to figure things out first. In
Mm-hmm.
your mind, you
Mm-hmm.
need to figure things out, and you need to work through a lot of that emotion.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that, probably by the time you decide that you're going to get a divorce,
Mm-hmm.
things are more clear.
Right. Well,
You've
I know
worked
that
through a lot
completely
of-
worked for me.
You've worked through a lot of things.
Yeah.
That you had issues with within the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that you're gonna, okay, I'm feeling better, so let's stay in the marriage and things will work out now. It's not exactly like that. It's more, I now have a really clear picture. You go into therapy to decide
Mm-hmm.
which way you wanna go. Not
I
exactly.
completely get that.
I'm going to therapy because I want to get a divorce, and I'm going to get a divorce, and at the end of therapy or whatever.
No, the point needs to be I need to get myself healthy.
Right.
And then, I know for me, I knew in December of 2009, and I sat down with my ex and I said, okay, I need to get better. We have a year. It's December 2009. Let's take this year and work on ourselves. We've been together for 10 years, so let's take the next year and either go to therapy individually or go to therapy as a couple, just to figure out if this is savable.
Yeah.
It's because I didn't want to be that couple at 70 or 80 years old, which is just always fighting back and forth and hates each
Yeah.
other because they just stayed together because they didn't do it.
Right.
And I had already made the appointment for January 7th. I said, okay, I'm going to go on January 7th. I invite you to come with me or find someone that you're comfortable with to see if we can make this work for the next year.
Exactly.
And I made the commitment for myself. That was my thing. I need to figure out what are my issues and what can I work through so that I can be centered wherever it is this takes us.
Right.
So I went and I had 6 months of, it was confrontational, combative, therapy. She was just well, why do you think that way? And she literally broke down a lot of my belief structures. I'm
Perfect.
I don't need to think
because
that.
another thing that happens when you're thinking divorce. I mean, and no, not even when you're thinking divorce, but just in conflict altogether, is that people tend to always think it's the other person.
Right.
It's the other person.
Right. Because it's easier.
The one at
because then
fault
you don't need
is
to
the
be
other
accountable.
person.
Yeah.
So you don't want to look at what you might be doing.
Exactly.
That's making things.
Well, it takes two to tango.
Right? And so that's therapy becomes, or counseling or coaching, any support like that will help you to become accountable for your part in what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it helped me immensely because I remember going in, and it wasn't that my therapist was, attacking me, but she was really just trying to bring in awareness very, very quickly. Why do you think this? Why do you think this?
Yes.
Why is this happening? And it wasn't a therapist to sit down and go, it's going to be okay. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna listen. Here's the tissue. It's gonna be okay.
Or to tell
It
you,
was so
oh, he did
challenging.
that?
Yeah.
What? He treats you like that?
No, she challenged
And
me
he
to
said,
step
you know what
up.
I mean?
Yeah.
Not like that. It's not fueling the fire. It's just getting you to become, like you said, aware.
To find your voice and to find out what it
Become aware.
was.
Exactly.
And I know for me, like my ex chose not to go into counseling until for his own self until 5 or 6 months later. We were at different levels.
Yes. Which is,
Which was okay, and I was like, okay, I can see what he's doing, and I was at a greater awareness. Is like, okay, I know he's trying, and I would take a step and then go, does that make me feel anything? Like, where am I in my healing process? I can see he's trying, I can see he's making an effort, but does that shift things? And I would take a few minutes and I would sit and I go, no. So, but I did that for like 4 or 5 months. I would sit there as he was making different sorts of gestures or writing thank you post-it notes just to make sure that I honored his progress and honored his therapy and his journey, and also not trying to be so closed-minded, because who wants to get divorced? Nobody wants to get divorced. So if you can, I tried to take 5 minutes and go, okay, he's trying. How does this affect? Does it affect, or is anything changing? And it didn't, because I had grown so far and grew more into who I was that I realized that we were separate people.
right, yeah.
Yeah. So when the divorce came, everyone's a little cuckoo head, but at least I felt a little bit more balanced.
More in control of your emotions. Mm-hmm. They weren't all over the place, yes. So that's definitely a place to start when you are thinking, headed in that direction, or the thought has come to you, it's to get yourself some support so that you can get those emotions under control before the actual what comes next, which is the legalities of it all.
So how would you suggest to set down some sort of peaceful parameters when you're dealing with the legalities as you step into that? What are some peaceful parameters?
Well, that would be the next step, right? So first handle your emotions, and then the next thing would be to start learning about the process of divorce. What will it take? Mm-hmm. What are the options? What are my legal rights? All of those questions, all of those things, to start investigating them. And of course, there's two ways of doing the legalities. The legalities, you can either hire an attorney, mm-hmm. or you can represent yourself, go pro se. Mm-hmm. And those require for you to learn to become informed, mm-hmm. and to learn about how those both work, right? With an attorney, it's not every situation needs an attorney. There are some mm-hmm. situations where the parties are in a place where, even though it's hard and things are not exactly smooth sailing, they have it within themselves to kind of work it out between them. Mm-hmm. That's the best. I think that's the best way to go. It totally is. Because with attorneys, attorneys, you never know what they're... If you're going to go with an attorney, and I'm not saying don't go with an attorney, but you have to interview attorneys and get a feel for them. And your attorney should be someone who wants to take care of the legalities of it all, but without fueling it, so that they can milk you for all the money it's worth.
Yeah.
And a lot of attorneys, unfortunately,
they fuel the fire.
They fuel the fire because it's what keeps parties going, mm-hmm. and keeps money coming into their pockets. It's a sad.
It's very sad.
I hate to say that, because I also know quite a few attorneys that are not like that I know I refer people to, because I know mm-hmm. that they're not going to do that. They're going to take care of the legalities and try to do it as peaceful as possible.